In a world filled with dreams and aspirations, there are those who dare to turn their visions into reality. They are the backbone of our economy, the small, medium, and big businesses that drive us forward. From the quaint corner stores on Broad Street to the local boutiques and small businesses in Balogun, medium-sized businesses fuel the engine of growth, providing job opportunities for countless individuals. These businesses form the lifeblood of our economy, working hand in hand to create a thriving ecosystem of commerce and prosperity. On Balogun Broad, we celebrate the resilience and ingenuity of small, medium, and big businesses. We don't just keep an eye on the stock exchange market, we're in touch with our local markets too. Join us every Wednesday, 5 to 6 p.m. on Hard Facts, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
All right, welcome to Balogun Broad, and this is where we talk about everything business, economy, and of course, money. And today we're going to be not just talking about the economy in general, we're looking at the banking system and how this one way or the other will help with those of us who are interested in investments, those of us who are interested in how the economy is going to grow. In fact, I started the show by telling you that sometime last year, Mr. President had come up with the idea of supporting the CBN's move to consolidate an initiative which they called, banks recapitalization. Now, in 2023, 5 days after the CBN said that the banks would need to raise new capital. I'm sure that people did not know that banks needed to raise new capital. Anyway, let me give you some background. According to the presidency had thought it necessary and important to consider the capital adequacy of Nigerian banks in the light of the projected $1 trillion economy in 8 years. Now, the presidency actually said that they supported the banking sector's consolidation initiative for the CBN, saying that it will help the country to grow its economy to a new height. Now, of course, when we're talking about growing the economy, we're thinking about, production, how do we open more companies, how do we export more? But banks also need to recapitalize. If you've been following the news, you would know that several banks have acquired several other banks. In fact, one of the stories that I saw was a Nigerian bank acquiring a bank outside of Nigeria, somewhere in Kenya. But my guest is going to be talking more about it because he's the expert, and I'm just going to lean back and listen to all that he has to say. Gospel Obele is a friend of the house. He's an economist, one of my favorites. I love to have him on the show every time because when he's here, I get to learn something new. It's so good to have you join us, Gospel. Good afternoon.
Hey, Maryann. Good afternoon. Really, really good to hear your voice again. You're looking good as always.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be doing this again with you.
Great. I'm most interested in this bank's recapitalization because, on a normal day, for me who's interested in the economy, I've never really thought much about it and how it works. But for the benefit of the lay person who's listening to the show, what exactly is this recapitalization about and why is it so important?
Yes, recapitalization is really important in every financial system in every country. And that's because in view of development, sectors always evolve. And as sectors are evolving, just the way we want Nigeria to become more prosperous, we want, in this case, the financial sector to become more prosperous. Mm-hmm. And in becoming more prosperous will mean that they can increasingly become healthier. Having more cash, they are more liquid in the ecosystem, they're stronger banks, their governance made up of people who can really, really, really take the institution to a whole new level. And when you aggregate that across board with many other banks you have in the ecosystem, you will have a stronger financial sector from the case of deposit money banks at least. And then you also want to think of the context of protecting shareholder funds. Mm-hmm. Many people have invested in banks in the past. And the truth is, when a bank recapitalizes, it increases and secures, the investment you have with the bank. And the stronger a bank can become, the more resilient your investments will become, meaning that the bank has the potential to stand the test of time. And then we've seen lots of institutions in Nigerian banks, one or two Nigerian banks, who have really proven over time to be resilient in each other. And we'll speak more about them as we go on.
So I'm curious. So because half the time when people are talking about finance and securities, banks don't come to my mind. I'm thinking about investing in like telecoms and some other things, like all companies. I never really have thought that you can actually invest in banks. So let's talk about Nigerian banks and why it's good investment.
Yeah, I mean, top of mind is the fact that number one, you want to invest in sectors that deal with.
Well, Gospel, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
In this
Connection with
case,
you. We lost the connection. You went blank, but I
okay,
think you're
can you hear me
back.
now? Is it
Yes,
better?
yes, it is
Okay,
better.
great. Yeah, so in many cases, people look down on banks because of their limited understanding, and also many banks have also not done the hard work to educate people for more. And when you think of banks, you think of the fact that these people have almost 19 million, 20 million people who have deposited money with them. That is the potential 19 million savings, current account, everything all joined together. You realize that that's a massive volume economy. All right, and when you trickle down the numbers in terms of the value of savings these people have, the value of transactions they conduct on applications, on online banking platforms, in fact, how people even consume banking products, how businesses consume banking products. Take, for instance, Fidelity Bank now. They've been a very leading light when it comes to leveraging on the law of large numbers to deliver value in the Nigerian ecosystem. They've gone the route of, improving savings. They've gone the route of improving deposits. They've gone the route of enabling SMEs, more SMEs, find financial security in terms of banking and product solutions to drive, what they're doing at the moment. So, if you think of that scale of numbers, it also tells you there's a lot of value in that scale. All right, because people would always spend every day. People would always transact. And as people's financial situation gets better, they do more in terms of financial transactions.
Hmm.
All right. So the bank you choose to work with in this context goes a long way to also help you secure your investments. And as a result, reasons why recapitalization really makes sense in
I
this
want I
space.
want to push you further on this again. You just mentioned a bank that you think is viable. What are the characteristics of knowing the vibe? How can I, as a layperson who wants to invest,
Yeah.
know how viable a bank like the one you just mentioned is for
Yeah. The
investment?
landscape of investing is, yeah. Thank you so much, Marian. The landscape for investing is gradually changing. Prior to now, people begin to look at the financial bottom line metrics like profit, like earnings per share, dividend, and all these things. In as much as those things are good, it's safe to say that almost most Nigerian banks are, they tick the boxes in that order. But then, how do you now know an institution that you know that you can be secure with within the mid to long term? You technically want to look at it across the ESG metrics, environmental, social, and governance metrics. Looking at how their processes work, how they churn out products, who they churn out products for, how sustainable are their products, how sustainable are their processes, um, how are they really looking out for the economy and the ecosystem where you live in context, all right? And in all fairness, Fidelity Bank has really done well in that order. If you want to think of the real sector, when you think of small businesses, MSMEs, and co, you realize that the bank has really evolved in its level of affiliation to those who really drive entrepreneurial and ecosystem prosperity in Nigeria.
Hmm.
And that's a big tick because you want to be affiliated with institutions who are also projecting themselves and actually doing social good, all right, in the context. So consumers are increasingly becoming aware and because spending choices have become tougher, all right, it's becoming difficult to wake up and say you want to affiliate with brand A over brand B. The metrics consumers use to identify who they want to really work and bank with or interact with. I like the ESG metrics. Okay, how much of these, how much of social engagement does this particular institution have in the limelight? If you look at it again, the Fidelity Bank has also been one of those institutions that have really led the light in terms of leadership, gender inclusion on the board and in senior level management, and that has also trickled down in terms of the quality of corporate governance as well, especially when it comes to driving home products and the growth of the sector. So it's largely around looking at ESG factors
Hmm.
and how those environmental, social, and governance metrics have been top of mind. And you see many other banks are trying to really follow suit when it
Hmm.
comes to that female-led leadership, quality governance, and diversification of product portfolio core areas consumers are interested in. And Fidelity Bank has really led strongly in that order.
I'm sure we can talk about other banks who are in that category with Fidelity Bank. But before we talk about those banks, I know that back in I think back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, or before then, we've seen several banks acquire other smaller banks. Let's talk about those acquisitions and how it also helps in the recapitalization of these banks.
Yeah, I mean, acquisitions are part of the journey, especially as institutions evolve, as time and seasons evolve. So to say, you also have institutions who need some form of revamping. You also have institutions who are also evolving in their vision, and they need to partner or go through a merger or an acquisition to help the next stage of their vision become a reality. And that's what we've seen in many cases. And the banking sector, we've seen quite some very interesting M&A. In some cases, you also realize that many institutions sort of lose the culture that they grow or that they become known for when they merge or when they've been acquired by a bigger institution. And we have one or two banks who have really led in that order. And I don't know you understand what I mean. But quite frankly, also, Fidelity Bank is one of those interesting institutions who have also positioned themselves in such a way that they're acquiring institutions, outside the country, but also have a strong affiliation with what's happening locally, and that's also sort of helping to project that transgenerational impact. When you look at the vision that they have in Union Bank UK, and how do you move on the frontiers with the next generation, and how do you create innovative products and all that? So you're leveraging the vast institutional knowledge of the old generation with the energy, the vibrancy, the vision, the charismatic leadership of the new generation, and that for me is one culture mix that we're proud to say that would enable the future of the Nigerian financial sector.
You talked about losing, when you merge, for example. Let me look at the Access brand and the Diamond brand, and I think I don't know what other bank, whether First Bank acquired any. I'm just thinking about it. If you were to name the top three who have gone into these acquisitions and have continued to maintain that same brand, aside from, of course, Fidelity, you've mentioned a couple of times, which other banks can be on that same level?
Well, for me, two levels actually. I think Access Bank got it right with Continental. Because it was an argument of a training institution, and you have that revamping of the institution to take forward, what is left, as it were. I think they're still yet to get it right with Diamond because it was a completely different cultural landscape. Diamond was this everyday banker, retail person, institution kind of people, jogging right there on the street, bringing it home, very close to the average Nigerian. And there's just a lot of sparkness and brightness and greenness, right, around what they did. In fact, Diamond Bank was very strong when it comes to supporting the SME ecosystem. We had really lots of under 25 entrepreneurs who were really affiliating at the time with the Diamond brand and with the energy. I do not think that was fully, captured within the vision of what it was or what it is right now under the M&A structure of the Access Bank. I think that retail feel, that brand touch, that positioning, the pulse of what made Diamond was lost or significantly diluted. So some may argue that it's not lost yet, but it's significantly diluted. Diluted because, Access Bank is more of a very strong corporate-facing institution, driving heavy investment in oil and gas and manufacturing. So you're not really much of the ideal type of retail bank.
Yeah.
So I think it was a struggle, and it's still a struggle for that institution to sort of evolve and support MSMEs or visibly, support the retail ecosystem to evolve. So that dilution of culture, is also a bit of a challenge, all right, because it also shows that our financial sector is not evolving in such a way that it sort of takes everybody along on the journey. All right. So you have some banks who are really trying to do that. Some others are really have lost the touch under the M&A structure. Some others are evolving into something else that is yet to be defined, quite honestly. So, and some others are playing up there, but we don't really know what they represent in terms of socioeconomic construct, of who they're representing in terms of target market and all that. So I think it's a lot more around a lot of Nigerian banks have to probably redefine their position. Some have also innovatively pitched their positions in creative business or in the creative sector, so to say. So they supported talent in the creative sector, they supported in areas where many young people are really struggling to evolve in sectors that are largely seen as informal and unstructured. They have evolved to sort of begin to project those sectors as the future, and they've done well for some stakeholders in that space. However, that market has to be democratized in quote, meaning that more banks have to come to the fore to say what they represent, to lead initiatives in the areas they represent, to take on social economic narratives and begin to build on that as a quote unquote bankable business models or solutions for the social problems we face. All right. So, and in all fairness, Fidelity Bank is strongly also tilting in terms of that diversification, having done really well in the MSME space and the agricultural space, especially the agricultural value chain as well. There's some little bit of effort to move into the food bank space, the fashion space, and all of that to also gear up efforts in supporting people in the creative space. So, the call is just to encourage more banks to sort of, think of M&A as an evolution into representation of who we are as a people, our diversity, bringing out the call of our diversity better, and not trying to, just pitching the profits only. Because on ESG grounds, I don't think many banks will really stand the test of time on ESG grounds.
Let's talk about tiny banks, because every day you see them crop up, and I'm not going to mention the names because some of them might not like the fact that they're calling them tiny banks. But we're seeing a few more of them crop up, and some of them are maybe mostly, like you said, the branding of these banks are not necessarily as clear as you'd want it to be. So you're still struggling as to understand where they are, whether they're leaning towards the BDCs, the Bureau de Change, or they are leaning towards certain markets, or, it's very difficult. What would you be advising banks to do in terms of when they're going for branding? What should if I say, for example, HSBC, I should know what HSBC is tilting towards. What's their market? And, what would be the direction that you'd ask that banks take when they're branding themselves or rebranding themselves in terms of this market recapitalization?
Thank you very much for the smart questions as always, Maryann. So I'll think about it from three strands. There's a logical strand, meaning that what is the core value that your bank is trying to, what is the core value it brings to the market? What problems you're trying to solve? And in that context, you're defining what market you're trying to reach and all that. What is that core value? So if you say, if you take this tablet, it cures the headache. The value there is when you actually take it, the headache disappears in quote, because so that functionality there is the logic. So a lot of banks need to review what their functionality is. What really are you doing to it? It's not really about, enlisting or being tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, whatever it is in that, it's not that order, but you need to be able to define what your value is in the market. I mean, if you point to some banks now, many Nigerians can tell you what it is they're gaining, because the value is not. The only person who can tell you the value you're offering is the customer who banks with you. That's the only way to show that your value has passed the test of time, and the market you're trying to offer that value to understand it well enough to interact with you. On the second bit will be how you communicate that value, which is largely around storytelling, and all that. And very few banks have been able to weave their value proposition to the cultural elements or the cultural nuances of the consumers or target market they're seeking to serve. All right. There's a reason why, let me just say some brands. There's a reason why Goldberg is more positioned in the southwest. There's a reason why the Hero Lager Beer is more positioned in the southeast. There's a reason why those type of brands evolve to become regional focused brands. And you see that the communications are deeply woven into the day-to-day reality, the day-to-day or the historical dynamics or the traditional elements of that region. All right. So, and we don't see that as much in banks, in terms of communicating their value proposition in such a way that it fits within the realities of the target audiences, their daily stories, their daily realities and all that. On the third level, again, is the ESG. ESG would mean how are you moving from the value you're offering, how you communicate that value, to how that value is evolving within socio-economic changes. All right, how that value is evolving within climate change, how is it evolving within the cost of living crisis, within rising inflation, within the fact that Nigerian businesses need to prosper. What are you doing, vis-a-vis your core work and how you're communicating your core, in light of what's happening right now. All right, so those are the three elements. So if you think about it very well, the brands have really stood the test of time, both in the banking sector and even other sectors, even globally, are brands that consumers have evolved to trust the most. And that evolution of trust is hinged very strongly on changes in times and seasons. How socio-economic landscape has changed, where I am right now as an individual, how this brand has journeyed with me as an individual, how the world has evolved, and how this brand has also increasingly become responsible, in tackling or seems to be tackling.
We'll take a quick break.
It's crucial you pay attention to this information. Our everyday living continues to rely on technology, while global need for technology keeps expanding. Hence, you must be deliberate about your child's future career. How well is the quality of tech or coding education your child is getting? An international school of programming for children is offering free online lessons during this holiday. Algorithmics teaches various tech-related courses via live and practical classes in 90 countries. Let your child experience free online lesson with a premium tech school, Algorithmics. WhatsApp or call 0813-001-5225, 0813-001-5225, or 0906-406-4463, 0906-406-4463 for free registration.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Brown-skinned girl on the other side of the room. Brown-skinned girl staring with her brown eyes. Ooh, baby, don't you know you're a cutie pie? Princess little honey with a polka dot dress on.
Every parent wants to see their child growing up happy and healthy. Introducing Renzo Vitamins for Kids, a secret to your child's daily nutrition and boundless joy. With Renzo Vitamins, your child will have the energy to embrace every moment and unlock their full potential. Give your child a head start in life with Renzo Vitamins for Kids, because a happy child is a healthy child.
Renzo's! Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Creamer. Where you need to have the break time. Kivo Creamer. It's not tea, but Garita. Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer.
Imagine the joy of surprising your loved ones with their names in lights, sharing heartfelt messages on towering billboards that catches the eyes and warms the hearts of everyone who passes by. For as low as 30,000 naira, you can celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, events, and promote your brand on our digital billboards. To book your slot, call 0812-088-9773 or visit www.mysogi.com.ng. Make your moments larger than life with MySogi, the smart ads company.
Ramadan, the holy month, is here. A time for spiritual reflection, a period of self-improvement, an opportunity for complete devotion and worship. Nigeria Info brings you The Light, a daily program that features teachings of Islam answers to questions about certain practices in the religion, and loads of giveaways. The Light, sponsored by Lotus Bank and Maggie on Nigeria Info, comes up daily at 4 a.m. in the month of Ramadan. For sponsorship and gift donation, please call 0805 581 5844. That is 0805 581 5844. Or send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm. The Light, brought to you by Lotus Bank and Maggie. Ramadan Mubarak.
Every morning, na better chance to carry your hustle go higher level. So, make you start your day with the correct taste of Nescafe. Start strong, finish strong. Nescafe.
I love Honeywell.
Now your favorite brand, Honeywell, is back. Available in noodles, semolina, and pasta in stores nationwide.
Honeywell is back with it. Everybody come and sing.
Anywhere Clara enter like this, people must give her compliment.
Clara. This your sense makes sense, so. Now because I dey use Wazobia.
Anywhere Johnny enter sef, people must comot cap for him. Johnny. As you enter like this, everywhere just begin smell nice. Which kind of perfume you dey use?
Now Wazobia perfume.
Yes, sir. Wazobia na the correct scent. We get quality. It dey last long and it dey give man and woman confidence. Any day, anywhere.
For authentic scent, we dey indigenous. Make you choose Wazobia.
It dey available in perfume and body spray.
You fit get them for stores, supermarkets, and open market. E also dey available on top Jumia.
Remember, no be only how you take dress, now also how you take smell.
Wazobia, correct scent for correct people.
Lagos, gear up for the second edition of Upbeat Fest happening this Easter from the 29th of March to April 1st, 2024. Be part of the Upbeat Fest. Come with your family and friends and enjoy a truckload of fun experiences like the Easter egg hunt, fun obstacles and games, live entertainment, trampoline jumping, wall climbing, trampoline basketball, and thrilling water tag competitions. That's not all. Kids get face painting, arts and craft sessions with the Upbeat Fest Fun Fair Games, where plenty of rewards await. It's a thrilling 4 days extravaganza for all ages. Tickets include basic bunny package for 5,000 naira, regular bunny package for 17,000 naira, standard bunny package for 20,000 naira, premium bunny package for 25,000 naira, and family bunny package for 80,000 naira that covers a group of 5. Tickets can be purchased on site at our center or at trx.africa/discover/Upbeat Fest. Upbeat Fest. Fun for one, fun for all. Refreshed by Ribena.
The question is not why South Africa. The real question is how you South Africa. How you'll come across 1,000 tongues that all speak in one voice. Welcome. How you can wake up with one foot firmly planted in the Indian Ocean and the other in the Atlantic Ocean. How diamonds and couture are but a stone's throw away from the safari. How your tongue will visit 1 million destinations on one plate. How your feet will sway in djembe, your torso in amapiano, and your mind in bliss. How crystal clear rivers flow in the day and crystal flows in the night. Whoa. We know this because this is how we South Africa every single day. And this is why we invite you to South Africa with us.
Own your moments in South Africa this Easter holiday. Explore new holiday deals at southafrica.net. Come journey with us.
Attention, Airtel customers. If your line has been blocked, then this is for you. Head to the nearest Airtel shop with your NIN. Our friendly staff will help you get your line back up and running. Don't let a blocked line keep you out of touch.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Madam, you don't try this new Lush Hair 4-in-1 no lie relaxer kit. We get free neutralizing shampoo and conditioner join.
What? Me, I know deal.
You know
no even sabi wetin dey happen for town. You see this lush hair relaxer so?
E no dey pepper, e no dey burn. E go even make your hair shine like oil.
Na so, lush hair relaxer kit na correct. We no go make your hair cut, we no go make your hair dry. E no dey pepper and e dey relax hair well. Come buy your own.
Lush hair, be beautiful.
It's Ramadan. Come on board. Let's go on a tour to the top restaurants where you can enjoy the best of the season. First stop is Charity Cafe. Here, the currency is sharing, so keep giving. Next stop is Kindness Bistro. Be the kindest you can be. Last but not the least, make a stop by at Forgiveness Drive-Thru and let go of every beef. And at Sahur and Iftar, bring it home with the goodness of great tasting meals with Noor.
This Ramadan, don't just eat for good. Share the good and be the good. Noor, eat for good.
Happy Ramadan Kareem. The holy month of Ramadan has brought lots of blessings, and it's time for you to enjoy while your dream of owning a landed property comes to reality. With Adro Ramadan Peace Offer, you will enjoy 30 to 40% discount on any land purchase this season, with as low as 50,000 naira to 1 million naira initial deposit and spread the balance between 24 to 36 months. You will also get gift items like bag of rice, gas cooker, refrigerator, shopping voucher for food hamper, and many more. Terms and conditions apply. Our estate locations are Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Abuja, Nasarawa, Niger, and Jos. For more inquiries, please call
080-3466-7286 or 080-6542-4629.
Adron Homes.
Building cities, communities, and homes.
I remember being screamed at. The customer was not going to pay for the Bantu nuts. But giving up was not an option then, and it isn't now. Not even fear can stop me. Be fearless. Be beautiful with Lush Hair. Lush Hair. Be beautiful.
Thanks for calling Bastion
Since
HMO.
I signed up with Bastion HMO, I don't worry about hospital bills. I get access to top quality healthcare and still save enough for other things. They even help me pre-book my doctor's appointments. Bastion HMO also gives me access to over 1,700 hospitals and clinics with the freedom to switch whenever. I feel so in control of my finances and health.
Call 0800 Bastion or visit www.bastionhmo.com to purchase a plan that suits your needs. Bastion Health, the HMO that puts you in control.
In Nigeria, the weather can change in an instant, just like life itself. Even when you are caught in a heavy downpour or harmattan has left your skin dry, there's one thing that never changes: the restoring power of Vaseline Petroleum Jelly. Because we all know when harmattan strikes, if you are not protecting your skin, it cracks. So do your lips, and no one wants that. So, use Vaseline Petroleum Jelly to keep your skin healthy, smooth, moisturized, and protected all day long, so you can embrace every season with confidence.
Compressed natural gas, now the fuel, oh yeah, better for your car, better for your pocket, and your environment. Better energy for car owner, Obele fuel for transporter. And say,
my people, renewed hope don dey shele. Compressed natural gas (CNG) na the way. This one no be for cooking o, na to put for your car. E dey cheaper than petrol and diesel. E dey burn clean and run smooth. E no dey contaminate engine oil with yamayama. Lie. With CNG as well, your motor go gbadu am, your pocket go like am, your environment sef go enjoy am. So therefore, forward march go any certified conversion centers wey near you for Lagos, Abuja, Ogun, Kaduna, Rivers, etc. Go convert your vehicle to use compressed natural gas (CNG) now. CNG, cheaper fuel for better living.
It's Ramadan. Come on board. Let's go on a tour to the top restaurants where you can enjoy the best of the season. First stop is Charity Cafe. Here, the currency is sharing, so keep giving. Next stop is Kindness Bistro. Be the kindest you can be. Last but not the least, make a stop by at Forgiveness Drive-Thru and let go of every beef. And at Sahur and Iftar, bring it home with the goodness of great tasting meals with Noor. This Ramadan, don't just eat for good. Share the good and be the good. Noor, eat for good.
Who says you can't have it all with one play?
I got that defined, but you have just won yourself.
Congratulations.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Melitus. One player, don't talk to 2 players because you won 20K.
So now you won yourself 20,000 naira.
My name is Well Done.
Okay, well done. You want to tell you well done, you won yourself 20,000 naira.
With 500 naira, you can play to win big from 120,000 naira to 190,000 naira daily on Nigeria Info. Go to oneplay.ng and play with 500 naira. And in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. Or dial *347 *880 *3 hash. Win daily on Nigeria Info. 50,000 naira on Morning Crossfire. 60,000 naira on WhatsApp Lagos. 20,000 naira on Sunnyside. And 60,000 naira on Game On. So Lagos, what are you waiting for? The more you play, the better your chances of winning. Remember to dial *347 *880 *3 hash. Play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Welcome back to Hard Facts.
40 minutes gone past the 5 o'clock hour, and this is Balogun and Broad. I still did tell you earlier on that we're looking at banks today, and it's very important that we understand how these banks work and how, the whole put together and, the businesses of banking, the investments in banks, the recapitalization of banks works. Because you see, we just go to bank, we put our money and we leave. If the money is hanging, we say our money is hanging. We don't know that sometimes you also need to look at what bank you're banking with, especially if these banks are interested in the kinds of business that you do, if they're interested in supporting, giving loans to those kinds of businesses. You have to know. Now, today I've learned a thing or two about. That's why I like when Gospel is on the show, because I get to learn a thing or two about a thing or two. And now I know that if I am a creative and I want to work with a creative bank, or I want the bank to invest in what I do, then I need to understand what the brand of the bank is about. And he's talked about a few banks, especially Fidelity Bank, and what they're doing. But before we went on that break, we were talking about, mergers and acquisitions. But let's finally talk about performances, how high-performing banks and, some people will just say, banks are banks now. If they have more customers, it's better. I used to know of a bank whose adverts would say they're one customer bank. And I used to think of, maybe because I just used to think like, one customer. How do you own a bank and you have one customer? How is that possible? But I guess the idea was that, okay, so even if you're just one customer, you have all the attention of the bank and, they cater to you or whatever. And now we're beginning to understand that. But let's talk about the high performing banks. And then I want to go into how the banking sector can help also boost the economy, because many people will say that if there's not enough money in the economy, what are we talking about? Which bank? How can the bank boost the economy if we don't have production? Blah blah blah. But let's talk about high performing banks. And most of these small banks, are we going to see more and more acquisitions or mergers? Because there's certain banks that, if you ask me, they're literally fizzling out. You really don't hear so much about them. And more banks are beginning to catch up with the future and what's happening in other parts of the world. And some of these banks, if you're outside of the country, you can still have access to them, and they even have banks that they liaison banks like Citibank in the US and other banks. Let's talk about playing catch up and high performance banks.
Well, is there going to be some form of M&A in the future for the small banks? Yes, there's definitely going to be one or two, because the small banks are not really, they don't have what it takes in many cases to be able to scale in terms of delivery of the value that we don't even know that what they're delivering in terms of value yet. And then in terms of even being able to meet up with competition as well. So is that many of them would come together to become a new brand, or they'll be bought out a bigger brand. However, it's also interesting that many of the banks are also competing on low cousins. The truth is savings and all of these things are more or less the least of a bank's worry today, because it's just conventional. The average person, needs to have a bank account. And however, there are still big time financial inclusion issues in Nigeria, and we don't still hear anything yet that banks are seeking to do to close those gaps. What many banks are trying to do is to have their own fintech arm to be able to compete with fintech. I think that's a bit short term in terms of vision. That's, to be honest with you, because you already have many banks already have might and resource to scale. And in many cases, many fintechs don't have might and resource to scale.
Yeah.
All right, but they have grassroots intelligence. Many banks do not have grassroots intelligence. They have only might and resource to scale. So we want to think of, is there a way to sort of collaborate between these big banks and identify those fintechs who have that position to scale or that ability to scale. Again, the problem with many fintechs is that the value proposition is still at a very basic level. Save money with us, or you can lend money from us. How is that different from a bank? They tell you that, if you go to a commercial bank, it takes a longer time. If you come here, it's faster. But you realize that very few fintechs are still within the radar. Even the fintech that some banks have introduced, have literally gone extinct. So what I'm trying to say in terms of competition is the future of competition is in collaboration. Very difficult collaboration. I do not think that the financial inclusion challenge in Nigeria will be solved by independently playing on our skill set or advantages. Those advantages can come together to become a strong force for social good. And when they become that strong force for social good, then that particular bank becomes the new investment destination for lots of stakeholders. So banks have a lot of capital resource, have a lot of human resource, but I don't think they have a lot of thinking resource to engineer their strategy and positioning, to become the future destination for investment. So the competition will be in that order.
And do you think that with this recapitalization that the CBN's goal is being achieved? Maybe in bits or maybe largely?
It has some very close, upsides to it. When you recapitalize, it means that you're trying to push or stretch the frontiers of the financial sector towards more resilience, more security and all of that. However, if you really cannot achieve much from recapitalization if you don't really fix lots of the fundamental issues,
like
within the ecosystem. For instance, controls. All right. For instance, internal quality controls. For instance, FX thinking now. People want to have FX within the Nigerian banks, and they want to access the FX legit. But you realize that even what we term as legal transactions and illegal transactions is just a blurry line. Many times, the very big issue is semantic concepts. Actually, how you define things and how you define transactions. How you also onboard forms, fill forms, get things done within Nigerian banks. It's still very slow to a very large extent. So you need to upskill that and all that. Then you also have a lot of leakage within the banking sector. Many. When we saw the redesign of the Naira note, which is no longer a conversation today, by the way, when it was a conversation, part of the artificial scarcity was driven by the banks. All right. So and that's to tell you that there are many more. And a part of the round tripping and artificial scarcity of the dollar today are also driven by banks as well. Right? So you need to have a lot of cleansing of the system. Now, it cannot be 100%. This is very clear. All right? So you need to have, in every 12 there must be a Judas. In fact, more than one Judas. So how do you achieve the goal of what you want to achieve in the sense, or the goal of a healthy financial sector with a level of healthy compromise? There's going to be compromise. And that's the problem. Lots of Nigerians think that it has to be black and white, towards our prosperity game, our growth game. But in many cases, there's no black and white anywhere in the world, all right? It's whatever is progressing has progressed on the grounds of interest, all right? How do you bring interest towards alignment of a specific goal and objective? And that's where the banks need to evolve. That's where the financial sector also needs to evolve. Fidelity Bank is pretty much doing well in that order, but a whole lot more can be done if it's being driven from an ecosystem angle, and it gets to benefit everybody in the ecosystem as well.
I'm more curious as a layperson. I remember when I was in uni and I was supposed to do my my internship. I always wanted to work in the bank, and this is in the days of Standard Trust Bank, in the 2000s. And I really wanted to work in a bank, but they just kept saying, no, you can't work in a bank. But then with these mergers or these acquisitions, are we going to see a smaller pool of workers, or is there going to be an expanded pool? Is it going to be welcoming more people into the banking sector, or are we going to see it shrink?
Yeah, it's a mix of both. It's a mix of both, unfortunately, because take it from the downside, first of all, is the fact that when you merge, you cannot cater for everybody, within both worlds. So some will have to go, so some will lose jobs and all that. However, there is also there's going to be a rise of new positions and new opportunities due to the next frontier of growth as a result of that M&A. All right. And that next frontier of growth will also bring about new roles, new opportunities, and all that. So it will now be the employees or the individuals within the ecosystem or even outside the ecosystem who have really done well in terms of upskilling themselves and will get to take the opportunity. So you now have that, you now understand that banks are looking for, institutions or people that can help push their capabilities, towards the next level of growth and development. So that's another brilliant market in terms of consultancy and outsourcing engagement. As the world becomes more AI driven, as competition becomes more fierce, banks are increasingly outsourcing. So it now depends on where you lie on that regard, but lots and lots of people in the ecosystem are underskilled or unskilled.
Finally, before I take a few comments and then let you go, let's talk technology. We have introduced a little bit of technology into the banking sector, but that's not necessarily been our biggest flex because it has been a problem, if you ask me. The downtimes that these bank apps have, the websites in themselves, transactions sometimes fail or are hanging in the middle. The National Assembly recently just wrote to the central bank to mandate banks to do something about those monies that hang in the air when transactions do not go through. And to me, I'm just thinking to myself, it's just a failure of technology or the fact that we've not been able to quite crack it. What would you be telling these banks as they're upping their game in terms of technology to what should they be looking at? Yeah.
Well, to be honest, if you're going to up the game in terms of technology in banks, then you need to up the game in terms of technology as a country. Because one is just a subset of the other. Right? Look at what happened with the cable that broke down in Cote d'Ivoire or something like that, and how it messed up your system. I mean, that's really, really, really unheard of in the 21st century. So we need to, by all means possible, fix technology, ensure that it's scalable. More Nigerians are adopting it. More Nigerians are productive with technology, because there's still a gap. Even with the technology we have available right now in Nigeria, many institutions haven't learned the best use of that technology. So if you don't have enough technology, the little you have is not best use. All right. So so you now need to have upskill technology talents to be able to deliver the type of products and solutions that banks are offering. And like you mentioned, there has to be policy to address cyber attacks and all of these. Like you mentioned, money hanging in the air, failed transactions, and what's the speed of getting back failed transactions. For instance, in the UK and other economies, when you pay for something and it was the wrong thing, wrong transaction, or it was the faulty transaction, the money gets refunded back to you automatically. Right? So how do you build that kind of securitized or security-based ecosystem where technology itself is intelligent to refund monies and all that? I don't have to come to a bank to queue up and fill, very, very useless forms and yet it's taking almost 3 months to get my money back. All right. So Nigerian banks have to really step up on that challenge. And I think they have the financial capability to begin to learn best use of technology, even with the little technology we have.
Yeah. Well, I have to let you go, Gospel, unfortunately, because we have a very little time, and I wish I could take all the messages that I'm seeing here, but I don't have time. I really needed you to get everything off your chest. But Don't worry, Gospel is always here to answer our questions. I will bring him back sometime soon. Gospel Obele is an economist and a friend of the house. Always a pleasure to have you here on the show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for me.
All right.
Really great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, we have our town crier in the studio. She's got some information for us. You could win some millions for Easter. Get ready to hear what she has to say.
Hi, Lagos. Just called me town crier, for goodness sake. My God. Lagos, anyways, you can now, I'm here to give you big information, okay? So this is about money. When it's money, you find me here, definitely. So if you're ready to win big this Easter, then you should be
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3